call, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Henry Rabal, Chair Henry Rabal. Oh, sorry, we're getting a feedback loop. I apologize. Commissioner Anna Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Anna Hansen.
Present, thank you.
Commissioner Rudy Garcia. Commissioner Hank Hughes.
Present.
Chair Rabal, would you like me to mark Mr. Garcia as absent or excused?
Right now, he should be joining us shortly, so I think he's going to be late. Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And we do have a quorum, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, so next on our agenda, we have item number C, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. Item number D, which is the State Pledge. Both of these I will lead, and then we're going to have the moment of reflection, and that's going to be from the Treasurer's Office, Mr. Patrick Varela. So if we can all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Okay, next, if we can continue standing, and this is a moment of reflection, and from the Treasurer's Office, we have our Deputy Treasurer, Mr. Patrick Varela. Tessa, is Mr. Varela
on? No, it does not appear as though he has signed on just yet. Would you like me to possibly read the moment of reflection?
I'm sure that'd be great. Thank you, Tessa.
Absolutely. One moment. Thank you. Let us take a moment to focus on the work ahead of us today, being ever mindful of our decisions, and in the best interest of our community, we take a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Tessa. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next agenda item. And this is item number F, and this is actually the approval of the agenda. I hope everybody, is there any changes or amendments to the agenda or requests? Manager Miller?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So our agenda was published last Tuesday, and then on Friday, we amended the agenda at Friday 2/19. We amended the agenda at 4:51 p.m. And just a couple of amendments on item 1G. We just updated that caption. Item 3A also had a caption. Item 4D, we are going to table that item till the next BCC meeting. Item 4E, this is a draft resolution. The caption was there, but we uploaded the current draft of the resolution and cost sharing agreement to the packet materials. Item 5A, we also updated that caption. And then item 5B, we updated that caption. And then since I see Marcus Archuleta on the call already, I would suggest Mr. Chair, that you take item 8C and move that to right after the approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you, Manager Miller. We will go ahead and do that. Okay. So we have the amendments that have been brought forward by Manager Miller. Are there any other requests, Commissioner Hamilton?
No request, sir. I was just going to move to approve the agenda with those amendments.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Hamilton. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Hughes. I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hamilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia. Okay, and a yes from Commissioner Roybal. So we have a unanimous approval with the commissioners that are currently present. I'm going to go to our next item, and this is actually the approval of the January 26, 2021 Board of County Commissioners regular meeting minutes. This is an action item. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Commissioner Hamilton.
Move to approve.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Hanson. I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia, and a yes from Commissioner Roybal. So we have an approval of our January 26, 2021 Board of County Commissioner regular meeting minutes. Next, I'm going to go to item number 1H, and this is the years of service and new hire recognitions. I'm going to go to our county manager, Ms. Catherine Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, County Commissioners. As you know, we like to recognize the employees who have been with the county for a long time, but we take a specific time to recognize employees who hit a 5-year milestone. And this past month of February, we had several people hit their 5-year anniversary. And as you know, we typically in our fire department do an academy, a fire academy for new cadets. And clearly we did one 5 years ago on in the beginning of February, because we have several individuals who work in our fire department who hit their 5-year anniversary on either February 6th or February 8th. And that would be Aaron Western, Robert Bell, Maria Elena Cordova, Christopher Griego, Alonzo Rodriguez, Otis Tincher, and Clayton Wallace. So I'd like to congratulate them. And then in Public Works, we had Rudy Carrillo in Fleet Service and Jason Jaramillo in Road Maintenance. And then in Finance Purchasing, Trini Ray Romero also hit their 5-year anniversary on February 22nd, or yesterday. So I'd just like to thank them for their service to Santa Fe County and its residents, and hope that they continue to stay with us.
Great. Thank you, Manager Miller. Comments or questions from the commission? Okay. And that concluded the new hires, and we didn't have any anniversaries this month.
Oh, Mr. Chair, that was the anniversaries. They were all 5 years, but we do have some new hires
Okay.
that I wanted to recognize. And this list is from January, and I think the first 4 people on the list you've already met, but I want to recognize the other new hires from January, and that is Nalini Huerta in our RECC, also Joshua Jordan and David Zaxis They're all new employees in our dispatch center. Then Angel Sanchez in corrections, Alexander Painter in public works projects, Austin Plummer in solid waste and public works, and Alberto Davalos in the sheriff's office as sheriff's deputy 3. I'd just like to take an opportunity to welcome them to the county and thank them for joining our team.
Great. Welcome to the team. We hope to be celebrating anniversaries in the future to come with all of you. I know that our employees here at Santa Fe County are, the best employees in the state. I think, you guys do a great job. So I appreciate everything that you guys do. So I'm going to move on to our consent agenda, and this is item number 2. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need additional clarification or that any commissioners would like to pull to get additional information on? And if not, what's the pleasure of the board? Commissioner Hughes, and then I'll
move for approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, so we have
I'll
a motion
second.
from Commissioner Hughes and a second from Commissioner Hamilton. I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hamilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
and a yes from Commissioner Roybal. Okay, so our consent agenda is approved unanimously. Madam Clerk, can we get resolution numbers for the resolutions we just passed?
So resolution requesting a budget increase was resolution 2021-018. Resolution requesting a budget increase to the Housing Capital Improvement Fund is 2021-019. Resolution requesting a budget increase to the Fire Protection Fund is 2021-020. I think that's it for the consent agenda.
That is it. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, so we're going to move on to our presentation. And this is a certificate to a young man. I actually received a phone call in one of the evenings from a constituent and that told me that there was a young boy pulling a wagon on the county road. And at first, of course, your mind starts thinking, okay, what's the call in reference to? And what they told me next, I was just really surprised, and basically they said he's pulling a wagon and he has some trash cans in the wagon and he's picking up trash from the county road. And so I did go out. They told me the county road. I went out to that county road and was driving up the road, seeing if I happened to run into him, in which I did run into him, and I did find him. And sure enough, he was pulling a little red wagon with 2 trash cans in it, and he was the trash cans were full of trash, and he was on his way home. And I stopped and asked him what he was doing. He said that he was picking up trash, and he kind of said that he didn't like going through on that road and seeing trash, and and other times when he's walking. So he took the initiative to pick up this trash, and words can't express the gratitude that I feel to see some of our youth taking this initiative to better our community. I mean, that right there is leadership that I think all of us can follow, and all of us should look at trying to improve in. I think that everybody, if we all work together and have this initiative to try and clean up our environment a little bit more, I think it's a great initiative. So I wanted to see if we could bring up the certificate, but I also want to give Marcus, after I read the certificate, I'm gonna give Marcus the opportunity to talk to the board and see if we have any other questions or comments from the board. So this certificate of appreciation for Marcus Archuleta, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners of Santa Fe County, we want to thank you for your service and commitment to create a better world. one person and one act of kindness at a time. It is individuals like you who set the example and bring changes to our country by simple acts of cleaning up our community. So, with that, I just want to, really, thank you, Marcus, for taking that initiative. And, when I talked to the parents, they actually said, we didn't even know he was doing that. So, I mean, it's just awesome. So, Marcus, if you'd like to say some words to the board. Do you know how to unmute yourself? Probably because you're doing work from home, with all the kids know it a lot better than we do. Go ahead, Marcus.
You there, Marcus?
Marcus, can you hear me?
He's there now.
Would you like to say anything to the board? I don't know if the screen seems to be freezing. I don't know if he's having internet. Yeah, he's having some internet issues.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to commissioners for questions and comments. So, Commissioner Hughes.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to congratulate Marcus Archuleta. It's great to see that kind of initiative. So, and congratulations on this. It's really wonderful to see young people in our community stepping up to make our world a better place.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes, I think we have similar feelings. It's very to we have as in our community who take this kind of initiative, and to know we have people of all ages that we really can look up to and respect. And on the lighter side, I was really concerned to hear you went out trying to run into him on the road and want to know if Marcus is healed from being run into. So, just a joke.
Thank you, Commissioner Hamilton. Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I can see Marcus on the video right there, and be careful those bobcats out there when you're picking up what you're doing, and and so certainly it's amazing that a young individual like you can actually go out there and help out the community, because it's about you, younger generation, that is going to take care of us as we get older. And for an individual like you to go do what you're doing, good job. Give you kudos, my young man, and do what you need to do, because that's awesome that you actually have the ability and in your mind to say, I'm gonna do something which is good today, because tomorrow we might not be here, but what I did today is helpful, and I appreciate you, and that's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Hanson.
Marcos, I just want to say thank you very much for taking care of your community and taking care of your neighborhood. It is what we wish for all of our community to do, is to help one another. So I appreciate your help to our fellow citizens, and I really appreciate you keeping our community clean and free of litter. That is a great thing to do. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. It looks like Marcus might be having some issues with the internet, but I think I see his dad is on the line as well. Mr. Archuleta, would you like to make any comments? And I'm sure you've had discussions with Marcus, and he may have told you why you did pick up the trash.
I just want to say that I'm very proud of my son. I didn't even have any idea he was doing that. I got home one day and he told me he had gone and picked up trash.
Mr. Chair, it seems like we're all having internet problems. This is Rudy, but just thank you.
It looks like we're going to have some internet problems, and you were going in and out, but we did hear the beginning of what you did say, Mr. Archuleta, and and Marcus. I don't know if you can unmute now or not, but from the commission, Santa Fe County Commission, we all want to thank you for your caring about the environment and picking up. Doing your part and a huge part and a lot than a lot of people do. So we thank you from the commission. Thank you very much, and you have a good day, and we'll be getting you this certificate, okay? Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to item number 3. And this is appointment and reappointments. 3A is a reappointment of one member to the County Open Lands, Trails, and Parks Advisory Committee, COLPAC. And from Growth Management, we have Miss Maria Lohman. Maria?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I'm Maria Lohman. I'm the Open Space and Trails Planner. Before you today, we have a request for reappointment for one member to the county's Open Land, Trails, and Parks Advisory Committee. This position is in District 1. Sandra Madrid Massengill was appointed to COLPAC in November of 2017, and she would like to be reappointed for a second term. The guiding resolution 2011-4 for COLPAC does state that members of COLPAC shall be appointed by the BCC based on letters of interest, qualifications, countywide representation, and advice from Open Space and Trails program staff. The resolution identifies various types of expertise that we're looking for committee members, including land, water, wildlife, natural resource, conservation, management and restoration experience, community cultural protection interests, knowledge about trails planning and construction, interest and understanding of agriculture, also some public administration and finance understanding. Resolution 2011-4 also outlines the membership for COLPAC. There are 9 members, 5 of which are from commission districts, and 4 members are at large, which means that they can reside in any area of the county. In your packet, you'll see the list of current COLPAC members and their term appointment and expiration dates, as well as where they reside in the county and if they've been appointed per district. This position was advertised in the New Mexican and through our county email lists. We did receive 2 applications, one from Miss Madrid Massengill. The other was from an interested party who lives in District 3. We reached out to that person in District 3 and said that we would love to communicate with them in the future, but that this position in particular was for District 1. Ms. Massengill has worked for New Mexico State Parks. In the past, she managed the Land Water Conservation Fund program and the development of outdoor recreation areas and facilities. She also managed the recreational trails program and improvement of trails. She is currently on the board of the Santa Fe Conservation Trust, and she has lots of experience and interest in county open space programs. In conversations with Commissioner Roybal, we have reviewed Ms. Massengill's application, and we would like to recommend for the board her reappointment. And with that, I can stand for questions.
Okay, thank you, Maria. If we don't have any questions from the board, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion. And this is my district, so I'd like to make a motion for the reappointment.
I second that, Mr. Chair.
And we have a second from Commissioner Garcia. Are there any questions from the board?
Mr. Travis, I have a couple of questions. Maria, can you tell us when does it open for countywide, the districts that are actually, instead of having everybody from each district, when is it open for countywide individuals that are actually?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Garcia, from the table that's in your packet, it looks like the next opportunity for appointments to COLPAC is in February of 2022.
And Mr. Chair and Wadia, is that actually for the one at a time, or is that for all 3 or 4 appointments that are allowed?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Garcia, it looks like there will be a District 5 position and a District 4 position, a District 5 position, and an at-large position as well at that time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, if not, we have a motion and a second, so I'll go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And yes from Commissioner Roybal. So congratulations. And, you know, if we do have Miss Madrid Massengill listening, you know, at any time, you know, feel free to contact me with any updates or any, you know, any issues or anything that, you know, maybe that you've heard from the community that they'd like to see. And I know that staff does a great job doing that, but if there's any time that you would like to contact me, please feel free to. And thank you, Maria. We really appreciate it. And yeah, you're doing a great job. So thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to go on to item number 4, and this is miscellaneous action items. And the first one is 4A, and this is a resolution amending the Santa Fe County roadmap and certifying a report of the public roads in Santa Fe County. And from our Public Works Department, we have Mr. Ryan Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is one that, just to give you a little background on this particular resolution that we're bringing forward, it's the annual group of roads and the mileages for what the county maintains for funding. This is actually something that the New Mexico Department of Transportation requests yearly from the county. And so what we have this year, in the past, we've always brought forth any kind of additions or additional mileage to any of the roads. If there's new roads that have been adopted with those miles incorporated into what we maintain. This year it's not very many roads. In the past we've had a lot of corrections. We've had a lot of additions. This year fairly minimal. I'll go over those briefly. So some of the additions are Camino Justicia from Highway 14 to the dead end, which is 0.36 miles. Camino Jacobo from Rufina to 4th Street, which is 0.55 miles, for a total of 0.91 miles. Then the corrections, which is basically, these could be anything from, you know, mileage that had been off that wasn't captured in the past if we're doing some sort of engineering study, or in this particular instance at Sudesta Place, there was a gap between what we maintained previously and what we maintain currently. And so doing some research, we had a constituent reach out on this one, and this one in particular, we did have dedicated easements, ingress, egress, and road, so we could actually maintain the road. So this one, while it does say correction, this was actually just a gap in the maintenance of the road that we maintained prior. So we're adding 0.23 miles, which is from Camino Sedesta to Seton Village Road. So for a total additions and corrections this year, it's 1.14 miles, which is for the county's total mileage that we maintain is 556.35 miles. I would like to mention that staff has really been dedicated to looking at all of these roads. Probably as recently as this past summer, we started looking at newer technology to try to determine mileage. While our predecessors at Public Works and all the folks that have worked on this in the past have done an excellent job, it's just been the case of bringing new technology to the table. We have a distance measuring instrument now that actually is a GPS unit that mounts to our vehicles. And so we've been, from this past summer, we've started driving all of the roads where we've got 3 of the five maintenance districts completed. And what we've seen is a significant change in mileage on some roads due to the fact that in the past we were limited on how we measure those roads. So it could have been from a speedometer years ago, which only does 1/10 of a mile. And also some of the information is taken out of GIS, which are actual point-to-point type of distances on those roads that don't necessarily always account for the vertical change in the roadway. And so we have seen some changes, some significant changes. So I just want to make sure, before it's transparent that next year's book in 2022 that we submit to the NMDOT will look significantly different from this one as far as mileage goes and some of the actual attributes that we're collecting. So I just want to make sure that's out there. We're trying to improve this because I know funding is tied to it, and how we maintain those county roads is critical. And I'll stand for questions.
Okay, do we have any questions from the board?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Garcia, go ahead.
So Ryan, can you actually tell me why we're going to have a different map in the next year to come? What anticipations are you actually having? Why is it going to change?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Garcia, that's a great question. So in the past, the way the distances for the roads, it's going to be based on mileage. So all the roads realistically go up and down. You have the vertical changes of the road. Those weren't necessarily always taken into account in the past just because of technology limitations. So, it could have been just driven 1/10 of a mile, like I'd mentioned, or our GIS folks do a great job of maintaining all of our road segments, but that's looking at it in a 2D plane. So if you add that 3-dimensional curvature of the earth and all those vertical changes, when you drive down the road, you're getting additional mileage than just a straight flat line. So that's where the differences are, and that's what we're trying to accommodate for. Many of our projects in the past, when we're trying to estimate costs for materials and for the construction aspect of it, those roads, if they're shorter than what we know to be true, the cost estimates are not inclusive of all the costs. Sometimes we're short budgetary wise, so we just want to make sure. That's why we began collection with the GPS units to try to get a more accurate assessment of the lengths of all these roads. So that's the big change.
I understand. So let me ask you a question. Look up County Road 9A down in the Edgewood area, because I have a question on the length of that road. Because myself and GIS, and when Diego was there, we had a little different of opinion on that. So what is the length of 9A? And also, so we're actually adding a 1/4 mile to Sedeso Place Road. And we're actually adding another 1/2 mile to Camino Jacobo, and another 1/3 of a mile to Camino Jesusa, the road off of the with the Jealous and that stuff, right? So we're adding mileage now to this chart.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And so we never had this mileage in the last 10, 20 years, as in we're adding another 1/2 mile of a county road. I'm just asking because I have a couple of county roads that I have questions about this. And how come we don't have the road to Cerrillos on this new added chart? Because 4 months ago, 3 months ago, we actually adopted the road to Cerritos, which how come that's on this edition of road?
Okay, well, that's a great question.
And then also so that's Cerritos, the entrance to Cerritos with Robert Martinez was there, and we actually adopted the road into Cerritos, so we all approved it. And then also in regards to County Road 9A, what is the length of that road and what are we doing? You don't have to answer right now, but I just have a little concern on that. And I understand what we're doing. We have to adopt our county roadmap every single year and get it approved. I get it. That's what I'm asking. And if you don't have the answer to that right now, that's fine.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Garcia, I will look up County Road 90A or 9A. The Cerritos entrance, that one actually was captured in our road list. While there was some discrepancies with NMDOT is exactly what we maintained. We did capture that, I guess, in prior years. We look back through the book. So there was some discrepancies that we did work through on that one this year, but you're correct. The county does maintain that entrance into Cerritos up until, I can't remember if it's Main Street or just past Main Street that the county maintains currently. So we have taken that over.
So does that not need to be added to this document? And also, one of the other questions I have is, would what's it called, photometry work, whatever the assessor's office utilizes? Why can't we not work the assessor's office that we pay for to, that thing's totally accurate. You can count fire hydrants, you can count anything on the software that we actually have purchased for the assessor's office.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Garcia, on that instance, we are working with GIS. They do have the ability to do an overlay of the pictometry, and that was going to be one of the data sets that we look at versus what we actually drive with the distance meters for GPS. So we will do a comparison because it'll overlay all the contours onto the actual road line. So we'll be able to do some sort of comparison and just to basically quality control check ourselves. So that is, the capabilities are there for that. We probably most likely will look at that this year.
Thank you, and I appreciate your answer. However, the county taxpayers have spent millions of dollars to purchase that web page for the assessor, and why are we not utilizing it? Why are we we're going to work on it, but just food for thought. We should have already been on that stuff. That's just, I know, Ryan, I know what you're saying. I get it, but let's just start working with GIS and the assessor's office has to do. Let's get it done. We got to do what we need to do. And so look up County Road 9A for me whenever you get a minute, and let's talk about that. If we need to amend this proposal to add the entrance to Cerritos as well as 9A, those are the questions I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you. And I apologize. It looks like I'm having some internet trouble, Mr. Chair. I guess my computer's going on and off, or in and out. But thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Hansen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ryan, for all of this detailed information. I am wondering if it is possible on this list, the revised 2021 County Road Certificate Book .pdf, if somewhere we could put the commission districts that these roads are in.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Hansen, that's a great notice on what we actually have currently. And that's one of the attributes, while I didn't go into detail, that is one of the attributes that'll be added to next year's book that hasn't been captured in the past. We'll have all the commission districts assigned to the road. I'm not sure in the past, why that wasn't captured this year. It was a time limitation, and we're redoing so many different road distances that we want to try to capture everything together in next year's book. But we will have that in there for all the commission districts, so it makes it easy for folks to see what roads are in their district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I know you are relatively still new to the county, so I appreciate all the hard work that you have been doing on our roads. One of my favorite lines is, you know, I love roads, and I love that you're working on these roads. And so thank you very, very much for all your work.
Thank you. And I would like to say our roads group has done a great job this year, and they've really stepped it up during all the snowstorms we've had. We've gotten a lot of good feedback from constituents. They've been out there working hard early in the morning to get the roads cleared, so thank you.
Thank you again, Ryan.
Mr. Chair, for me.
Commissioner Garcia.
Just really quick, a long time ago, Commissioner Marcos Trujillo and Javier taught me, as Commissioner Hansen just mentioned, there's 5 things that people care about: the roads and 4 other things I won't mention. And so when we're adding things to this list, we've only added 3 different things in red that we're adding to this list that has been here for 10, 25 years. And so the concern I have, as Commissioner Hansen has raised in a nutshell, is can you give us the roads in our district? And we're working on it, we're getting it done, and you're relatively new to the community here, and I understand that. And it's just something that I would like to see done, because you're adding 3 roads. All the rest of the roads have been here forever. And so if you can please give us a list, as Commissioner Hansen has asked, as into what are the district roads. And yes, we're working on it. I get it, I understand that, but right now we're adding 3 roads to this district, and we're going to look at the interest to Cerrillos as well as County Road 9A. And so if you can please get us that, appreciate that. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you, staff. And one thing, as I mentioned to Manager Miller as well as Gary, the Public Works Director, the crew that does maintenance on our roads, awesome job. And I hope, well, they probably can't watch this because they're working on the roads, but however, they do an excellent job. And our constituents appreciate those individuals. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Hansen? Commissioner Hansen, you're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move a resolution amending the Santa Fe County roadmap and certifying a report on the public roads in Santa Fe County.
Second.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Hansen and a enthusiastic second, but from Commissioner Hamilton. Okay, so we're going to go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hamilton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hansen?
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Garcia? Commissioner Garcia? Commissioner Hughes?
Yes, and I believe Commissioner Garcia is muted.
Commissioner Garcia? I know he said he was having some internet issues. Okay, and a yes from Commissioner Roybal. Once again, Commissioner Garcia, are you back with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, for me as well.
Okay, so we have a unanimous vote on this item number 4A, and is a resolution amending the Santa Fe County roadmap and certifying a report of the public roads in Santa Fe County. Thank you, Mr. Ward. Madam Clerk, can we get a resolution number, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, it would be Resolution 2021-021.
2021-21. Great. Okay, so we're going to go on to item number 4B, and this is request first an approval of to utilize the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchase Agreement for the purchase of a 2021 Pierce 2100 gallon fire tender in the amount of $352,369.60, inclusive of New Mexico GRT. And second, delegating signature authority to the county manager to sign the purchase order. And from the department, the fire department, we have Chief Jackie Lindsay, and also from purchasing, we have to have Mr. Bill Taylor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This is Bill Taylor to kick this off and present to you this afternoon. We have been before the board before using the HGAC contract, but a little bit of background, the department is requesting to replace a 27-year-old Chevrolet fire tender for La Puebla Fire District. And due to age and mileage and maintenance, I think it's well deserved. The money is coming from the Fire Protection Fund 209. As I stated, the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative is a cooperative unit that procures throughout the country from different vendors. So we know we're getting a very deep, large pool of bidders for these types of apparatus to put them together and deliver them to Santa Fe County. We think that we have made the determination that it would be most advantageous for the county to utilize the cooperative agreement for the purchase of the fire tender for La Puebla. And that is in the amount of $352,369.60. Ordinance 2012-5, Section 1, outside contracts, does require that using an outside contract to purchase anything more than $250,000 requires board approval. And so with that, Mr. Chair, I'll stand for questions.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Do we have questions from the board? Okay, I've not seen any hands, and I don't hear any other commissioners saying that they would like to bring questions forward. So I want to thank you for your presentation, Mr. Taylor. And what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, move to approve.
Second.
I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
I'm still amazed that that 27-year-old vehicle is still running, but thank God it's still working, running, operating, but yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia, and a yes from Commissioner Roybal. So this item passes unanimously.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and move on to our next item, and this is item number 4C. And this is the approval of a lease agreement number 2021-0160-CSD/BT between Santa Fe County and Santa Fe County or Santa Fe Recovery Center Incorporated for the lease of premises at 2052 Galisteo. Approval of the lease agreement is contingent upon final approval by the State Board of Finance. And from the Public Works Department, we have Mr. Scott Caseman, and also from our Community Service Department, we have our Director, Rachel O'Connor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Since May of 2017, the Santa Fe Recovery Center has been under contract with the county to provide detoxification and sobering services to the community. In July of 2020, a new contract was executed between the two entities to continue that relationship. Recently, we completed renovations to the building that they're in at 2052 Galisteo, and we conducted a current market rent appraisal based on a full service lease. A full service lease is where the lessor, the county, pays all of the maintenance, utilities, taxes, and insurance on the building. So Santa Fe Recovery will be allowed to fulfill their monthly rental obligations through providing detox and sobering services to the community. Along with, they'll be given credit for their monthly maintenance and janitorial expenses that they pay. So with that, Rachel and I will stand for any questions.
Okay, do we have questions from the board? Commissioner Hughes?
Well, thank you. I was just wondering if we track outcomes for the Santa Fe Recovery Center, and I don't expect that they would be, stellar because it's really hard, the work that they do, but I just wondered if we do track their outcomes.
Mr. Chairman, Rachel O'Connor, responding to your question, we actually do track a variety of different data that come from both Santa Fe Recovery Center and will be coming from the Crisis Center. And as you stated rightly, detox is a difficult service to provide, but we are required to provide some specific data both for our Connect program and for the State of New Mexico Department of Finance Administration, who funds the program.
And so do you know what, off the top of your head, some of the data that you collect? And I don't mean, that you need to, I just wondered what type of data.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, so we collect things like what services were provided, whether or not this person recidivates or has been to the detox center more than once. We collect a variety of data. I apologize for not having that just with me, but I'd be happy to provide it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great. And thank you. That was my main question.
Mr. Chair, if I may, this is Rudy.
Go ahead, Commissioner Garcia.
I think Commissioner Hughes, that's an excellent question, because when our tax dollars pay for individuals to need help to the community, we need to know how it's working and if it is or if it isn't. But Rachel, if you can please get us that data at the next meeting, that would be great. And then a question I have for Bill Taylor, Mr. Taylor, is we're doing some renovations there for what the taxpayers actually approved to do, renovate that entire facility. So does this actually include that? Does it not include that? And what are we doing with that? And that's two of the questions I have. And then secondly, thirdly, let's see what I got. Is so those are what I have.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Garcia, the renovations to the facility are, of course, a separate cost center and project. That's all going to be completed at the Galisteo location where Santa Fe Recovery will be moving in and occupying. And they also, Santa Fe Recovery, have their own operation at their own site, but both the Behavioral Health Crisis Center will operate with New Mexico Solutions there and alongside of Santa Fe Recovery. So this is the building that has been renovated for the Crisis Center and Santa Fe Recovery that they're going to be leasing from the county.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And also, so whenever we have indigent patients, which a lot of these individuals are indigent patients, are we giving the lease a little bit of a break because they are indigent and they can't afford it? So can we kind of work out all these individuals that are indigent that can't afford that? So was the Santa Fe Recovery Center looking into that, or is the county looking into that? Because you had mentioned about a fair market value for the lease agreement. So how are we addressing that? Or are we not?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Garcia, we are providing for the allowance of in-kind services, which would mean services that aren't covered by another source or that are allowed for reimbursement. I'm sorry, allowed for contribution towards the in-kind rent.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Rachel. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Hansen?
I want to just thank Rachel and all of her staff and the Recovery Center and the Solutions and everyone for all the hard work in getting this done. And Scott, everybody, and Bill, because this has been something that's been very important to myself, my predecessor, and many of the commissioners on this board, and to actually see it start to come to fruition and getting it done is fantastic. And I am so excited that we have been able to make this happen for our residents and people who are suffering from addiction and who need these services because this is not only just for the county. This building is in the city. It is going to provide services for all of Santa Fe County, city, county residents. So congratulations and thank you for all your hard work to everybody on this.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. And as Commissioner Hanson stated, this has been long in coming, and I think that we have all been very supportive. And we also did work on the transitional living in Espanola. We were able to help with some of our CARES Act funding. Is that correct, Rachel?
Mr. Chairman, yes, it is. And we are also supporting pathways in northern Santa Fe County, Espanola area, to provide services through our Connect program and ongoing services for people in that area.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor. And I just can't state enough, as Commissioner Hanson mentioned, that it's just something that has been long in coming and something that is in desperate need in our communities. So great work, you guys. Thank you for everything. I do appreciate that. Any other comments or questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chair.
Let me go to Commissioner Hanson. I'll go to you, Commissioner Garcia.
I would like to move for approval of lease agreement number 21-0160-CSD-BT and subject to approval of the State Board of Finance.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hanson. Commissioner Garcia?
I second that for discussion.
Okay, so we have a second and discussion. Commissioner Garcia?
As Commissioner Hanson mentioned earlier, as into what we do and what our staff does and what the taxpayers have actually approved for this community for an issue that is nationwide as well as this community. And I think my colleagues as well as staff and we are all helping out to do what we need to do because it takes a while to work it and we're doing it. And we're trying and we're getting it done. And thank you. And yes, I second the motion, but thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Any other comments under discussion? Commissioner Hughes?
I just wanted to echo the sentiment for appreciation for all the work that's gone into getting the crisis center and the rehab part of this building up and running. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Okay, so I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hamilton? Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes, could you not hear me?
Yeah, we didn't the first time, sir. And a yes from Commissioner Roybal, so this item passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor, and our director, Ms. Rachel O'Connor. Next, we're going to go on to item number D. And this resolution is a notice of sale resolution for general obligation improvement refunding bonds series 2021 in a principal amount of up to $16,675,000, including approval of a form of preliminary official statement. And from our finance division, we have our director, Ms. Yvonne Herrera, and from our
Chair?
attorney's office. Yes.
This item is tabled. We're going to bring this back at the next BCC meeting and issue the request authorization to issue the total amount of the bonds.
Okay. Sorry about that. I know you mentioned that earlier, and I even had it written here, but I skipped that. So, okay, so we're going to go on to item number E, and this is a resolution pursuant to the Public Facility Energy Efficiency and Water Conservation authorizing the execution and delivery of a cost-sharing agreement for the lease, purchase of energy-efficient equipment and improvements to reduce the energy use of the Buckman Direct Diversion Project, evidencing a special limited obligation of the county payable from utility cost savings that are a direct result of the energy-efficient equipment and improvements, delegating authority to the county manager to execute the county sharing agreement and associated purchase orders within the parameters set forth in this authorizing resolution, ratifying actions here therefore taken, repealing all actions inconsistent with this authorization resolution, and authorizing the taking of other actions in connection with the execution and delivery of the cost-sharing agreement. And from the Utilities Division, we have Mr. John Dupuy, and from our County Attorney's Office, Mr. Greg Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I'll take the first effort at setting the table for this authorizing resolution, and then defer to Mr. Dupuy for any additional information that he would like to add. In your packet, for this meeting is a memorandum that goes into some detail concerning the resolution. I'm not going to read from it, but rather try to summarize at a high level what I think is the most significant information. At base, the resolution concerns energy conservation measures that have been proposed by the City of Santa Fe for certain facilities of the Buckman Direct Diversion Project. Those energy conservation measures consist of LED lighting facility improvement measures at BDD Main, BDD Booster Station 1A, BDD Booster Station 2A, and the BDD Lift Station. In addition, there is proposed for the BDD Lift Station and the BDD Booster Station 1A solar PV renewable energy facility improvement measures. In order to make that so to speak, those BDD energy conservation measures, there are a series of documents involving different parties that ultimately need to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners and or the county manager. This resolution is one such document. It would authorize the county manager to ultimately execute and deliver a cost-sharing agreement between the county and other BDD partners. In addition to that cost-sharing agreement, the Board of County Commissioners, as well as the BDD Board and the City of Santa Fe, ultimately need to approve a separate city and BDD agreement concerning the BDD energy conservation measures. I would emphasize that this resolution does not commit the county to ultimately go forward with either of those separate documents. Rather, it authorizes action to be taken, in particular, the execution of the cost-sharing agreement once the details of it are finalized. The authorizing resolution is being brought forward today, however, so that we are able to publish notice of the adoption of the authorizing resolution in a paper of general circulation so as to start a statutory limitations period during which the authorization of what amounts to and is considered by the law as a debt begins to run, And the idea is to ensure that that period of time runs before we actually execute the cost-sharing agreement on or about the time that the city of Santa Fe closes on the financing for these improvements. So again, ultimately, from the county's perspective, there would be 3 documents that need to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners and or the county manager. One is this authorizing resolution. The second is a cost-sharing agreement. And the third is a separate agreement between the city and the BDD board that the Board of County Commissioners would also need to approve because the improvements that would be transferred to the BDD would be encumbered by a security interest in the financing company financing these improvements. So stepping back a bit more, as the board is familiar, there is a mechanism in the law for so-called investment grade audits and energy performance contracting. You're aware of that because the county has contracted with the same company that the city of Santa Fe did, a company called Year Out Energy Services Company, LLC, to perform an investment grade audit of county facilities. And the city of Santa Fe, as I understand it, went through a similar process, and Year Out analyzed both city facilities as well as the Buckman Direct, certain Buckman Direct diversion facilities. Year Out has, as I understand it, proposed improvements not only at the BDD facilities, but also at various city facilities. And the city is in the process, as I understand it, of entering into a lease purchase agreement with a national bank known as Sterling National Bank, pursuant to which the city would finance the majority of the energy conservation measures through that lease purchase agreement with Sterling over a term of 18 years at an interest rate of 2.145%. Consideration and work on all of these items from the county's perspective is being prioritized because, as I understand it, the city must close on the lease purchase agreement financing on or about March 29, 2021 to keep the terms that are on offer. In terms of the projected savings and at least the cost of labor, equipment, and materials related to the various BDD conservation measures, Daniel, if you scroll down to, you're at exactly the right spot there. Thank you. It's estimated by Year Out in their investment grade audit that the LED facility improvement measures will save approximately $24,896 in year 1 utility cost savings compared to the cost of labor, equipment, and materials in the amount of $128,836. And that further, the solar energy conservation measures are estimated to yield $189,744 in year 1 utility cost savings against the cost of labor, equipment, and materials of approximately $2.4 million. The ultimate cost of those improvements, as well as the debt service, we would estimate to be higher based upon the contractor's overhead and profit and similar contractual items. But for ballpark order of magnitude benefits and cost, we provided you with these figures taken from the IGA. In terms of next steps, if the board authorizes the resolution, county staff would cause notice of it to be published in a newspaper of general circulation. We would continue to work with staff of all parties to finalize both the cost sharing agreement as well as the separate city BD agreement. My understanding is that the city council is slated to take action on the entire project tomorrow including a request to authorize the county attorney's office to finalize and the mayor to execute the cost sharing agreement, as well as approval of the separate BDD City of Santa Fe agreement. Further, we anticipate that both of those agreements will be presented to the BDD board at its meeting next Thursday. And finally, would anticipate bringing those two separate documents back to this board at its next meeting in March. So that was a lot of information. I appreciate you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, indulging me to speak that long. I defer to Mr. Dupuy to see if he has anything that he would like to add to the discussion of these improvements at this time. Otherwise, would be pleased to stand for any questions.
This is John. I have no further recommendation or information to add.
Okay, great. Do we have questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, this is Rudy. I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Garcia.
So in regards to the bottom line, this is actually a city and a county water project. This is for the record for the taxpayer to realize what's happening here. And so the debt service is approved by the city of Santa Fe, or is it approved by the county, or is it approved by the Buckman Diversion Board? That's one of the questions I have. And another question is why are we dealing with an out-of-state bank? Did they go out for RFP? And so those are just questions I have as a taxpayer. And I just want to make sure that my two colleagues are on the Buckman Diversion Board that the board should actually approve what the interest rates are on the debt service. And if the board's okay with it, 2% is good. And so who are they using the county's rating, or are they using the city's rating? Because as Manager Miller knows, and all my financial staff there knows, our rating is probably the best in the state. So how do we get to that debt service?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Garcia, I'll take a shot at the first question. And I believe that we're honored to have Regina Wheeler from the city present at today's meeting, and so she might be able to provide an answer to the second question. But with regard to the first question, there are two different debts, if you will, being created if this transaction is fully consummated. The first is the debt being incurred by the city to Sterling National Bank under the lease purchase agreement. It is a special obligation of the city, as I understand it, pursuant to the Public Facility Energy Efficiency and Water Conservation Act. And as I understand it, the city has pledged utility cost savings primarily, if not exclusively, to repay that debt to Sterling. The second debt, if you will, would be from the county and potentially other BDD partners to the city, whereby the county and potentially other BDD partners would pledge to the city our proportionate share of BDD utility cost savings that the city could then utilize both for debt service under the lease purchasing, the lease purchase agreement, as well as operation and maintenance cost of the solar facility improvement measures. So, Commissioner Garcia, I hope that answers your first question. And if it's acceptable to the board, I would defer the second question to Public Works Director Wheeler from the city of Santa Fe, who can probably speak better to how Sterling National Bank was selected to provide the financing.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just also really quick, Greg, in regards to, so if we're actually going to have a savings on the BDD, the Buckman Diversion Project, so are the consumers or the taxpayer, is their prices, are they going to go down or they're not? Because one of the questions I have is as into when the city of Santa Fe actually wants to run that pipeline from the sewer plant back to the Rio Grande because people are paying taxes on that, on their sewage bill. So now if we're actually going to reduce the prices and the costs for water system throughout the BDD, is the consumer going to pay less, or can they pay less, or it's not? And if not, that's what the other question I have. But thank you, Greg. Appreciate your.
Mr. Chair, if it's okay with the chair and the board, perhaps Ms. Wheeler, if she's willing to indulge us, could answer the question about how Sterling Bank was chosen, and then I'd be pleased to try and take a shot at the third question.
Okay, thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. And was there any other questions from commissioners?
Chairman, this is Regina Wheeler from the City of Santa Fe. I thought I might try to answer the rest of the questions about the process to select Sterling for the financing for the project.
Okay, that sounds good. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Commissioners, thank you for having me, and County Attorney Schaefer for your introduction. Yes, we did go out to bid for proposals for this financing, and I think we received 4 proposals. We were like, it sounds like you would have, were very interested in the possibility of a local bank, but we got significantly better terms from this out-of-state bank. And did a net present value analysis of both like early payback terms, the interest rate, and found that Sterling was significantly better and would be the best choice for the project and the city and the county.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just thinking as we move forward, as the taxpayer, as into, I just want to make sure that that we're not going to pay a huge balloon payment at the end of all the stuff that's happening. So I just want to make sure that the taxpayer is taken care of, because, and as long as we went out for an RFP, which the city did, and I thought those are why I'm asking the questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
thank you,
commissioners, if I could. So the third question that Commissioner Garcia asked was whether or not this would result in a rate reduction. I think certainly, at least with regard to the 18-year term of the lease purchase agreement, during which time we would be pledging energy conservation, BDD utility cost savings to help with debt service. We would not anticipate that resulting in any rate reduction. In essence, our costs are estimated to be largely flat. What we would have been paying in energy bills, we're now paying in energy bills plus debt service. So we wouldn't anticipate a large amount of realized savings during the course of the lease purchase agreement. There is a mechanism in the agreement whereby excess energy savings are paid back to the county, at least in the current draft of the cost sharing agreement. But in any event, I don't think, and I don't want to mislead anyone to think that this deal would result in rate reductions for county utility customers, at least during the term of the lease purchase agreement. And again, I'd defer to Mr. Dupuy if he has a different view on that.
So, Mr. Chair, really quick. So I just want to make sure for my grandma. So my grandma, I always refer to her because she doesn't have a cell phone and she doesn't have internet. And so my grandma is not going to get an increase in her water utility bill, as well as it's going to be a flat cost. And over the long period of time, the utility company will actually be good on a flat rate. And no, we're not going to say, Mrs. Rudy's grandma, we're actually going to raise her rates because we didn't pay for this solar, all the solar stuff, environmental stuff that we're doing here at the BDD, correct?
Commissioner Garcia, this is John Dupuy. I would say that that's correct.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that whenever where the cost is going to come from to pay for all these items at the BDD, it's going to come from the fund that's already existing, the state fund, federal fund, or we're not going to raise the utility rates, are we?
Mr. Chair, this is Manager Miller. So
Go ahead, Manager.
Commissioner Garcia, the idea behind this is to make the BDD more energy efficient, but to pay for these solar improvements, we'll save energy payments at BDD, and those savings will go to pay back the solar improvements. The county, our water rates to our customer is based upon our total costs, including our cost of water from BDD. This in of itself, this improvement and this debt will not change Santa Fe County customer rates, but other factors could potentially change county rates. But this improvement in itself will pay for itself through energy savings at the BDD. It's not going to change our rate that we pay BDD though, either up or down. It's just going to pay for itself at BDD by reduced electricity costs at BDD, and that reduction in energy costs will be what pays the debt back for the solar improvements.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Manager Miller. So really quick, is my grandma's rate going to go up next 3 or 5 senators?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Garcia, your grandmother's rate might go up, but not because of this. We have planned rate increases in our water utility for our overall increased costs, but not because of this.
Thank you, Manager Miller. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Thank you, Manager Miller. Any other questions from board members? I need to expand my screen here so I can see.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner Hanson. I got my screen expanded now.
Thank you. I want to thank Greg and John and Regina for their hard work on this agreement. This is a very complicated process that we have created at BDD, and this cost sharing agreement, I believe, will benefit the constituents, and most of our constituents are very supportive of energy efficiency. And so I believe that this is a really positive move. I do have one question because I have gotten a lot of letters about this, and I'm hoping that Regina can answer some of these. I'm completely in favor of this agreement, and I will make a motion. But first, I want to ask about the LED lighting. I know that my constituents in Las Campanas and throughout the city have already been complaining about lighting and the fact that these lights will be much brighter. So I want some assurance that they will be shielded and that they will be toned down as much as possible. And I would feel remiss if I didn't ask this question because of the amount of letters that I have gotten from constituents.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. Actually, there's even better news about the LEDs going to BDD as a result of this project. They're all interior. The BDD actually undertook a exterior LED conversion project some years ago, and so the BDD improvements are all interior. Are those the lights you're speaking about, Commissioner Hanson?
Well, those are the ones that affect the BDD. So those are the ones that I want to know about. But I am happy to hear that. I didn't actually see that in the documents. I did read them, and I was looking for where the LED lighting was located. So I am glad to hear that they are all in the interior.
Yes, we confirmed that at an earlier BDD meeting.
Okay. So then I would like to move to pass this resolution pursuant to Public Facility Energy Efficiency and Water Conservation Act, authorizing the execution and delivery of a cost-sharing agreement for the lease purchase of energy efficiency equipment and improvements to reduce the energy use of the Buckman Direct Diversion Project, etc.
Second.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Hanson and a second from Commissioner Hamilton, which are our representatives on the Buckman Direct Diversion Board. So thank you, and thank you for your dedication and time that you spend on this board and representing Santa Fe County. So with that, we have a motion and a second. Under discussion, are there any commissioners that have any questions or comments under discussions? Commissioner Hughes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, in reading this, I realized how complicated this is and how much work it must have been to put this together in short order. So I wanted to thank our staff for putting this together and for the city for its work on this. So that was all. Very important project.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Garcia?
I would actually just like to bring echo what all the commissioners have said is, the individual taxpayer doesn't realize that we work together with the city. Whenever you turn on that tap, that water tap, or you flush that toilet, it's very important what us policymakers actually work on and deal with as into what's happening out there. But so yes, I think this is a good move for the water system as a whole, for the community of Santa Fe and everybody else. But I just want to put on the record, as some of my colleagues have said, people don't realize whenever you turn on that tap, that water, you flush that toilet, it comes from somewhere. And us policymakers, city and county, we're doing what we think we feel is right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Hamilton? Commissioner Hanson?
Yes, and thank you again to everyone.
Commissioner Garcia?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
And a yes from Commissioner Roybaugh. Okay, so this item passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, can we get a resolution number?
Yes, Chair Roybal, the resolution is 2021-022.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, next we're going to go on to presentations. And 5A is a presentation on the county's open land, trails, and parks advisory committee, COLPAC, and the Open Space and Trails annual report. So we do have, I noticed that we do have Ruben Cedino present, and also we have Maria Lohman from our growth management. So who's going to be presenting this presentation?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Ruben will be joining me after I give my presentation. He's available to answer any questions you might have and to talk about some of the discussions we've been having as a COLPAC committee over the last few years.
Okay, please proceed.
Daniel, do you want me to tell you when to go to the next slide? Is that the best way to do it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So again, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I'm Maria Lohman. I'm the Open Space and Trails Planner, liaison for the county's Open Land, Trails, and Parks Advisory Committee, which is also known as COLPAC. The purpose of the presentation today is to give an overview of COLPAC, and also to give you a sense of what our Open Space and Trails program has accomplished over the last year, and also discuss some of our goals moving forward into 2021. Next slide, please. In 1998 and 2000, Santa Fe County voters approved $20 million in bonds to purchase open space for conservation and recreation purposes. Since that time, Santa Fe County has acquired 6,600 acres of open space and built about 60 miles of trails. COLPAC was formed at that time to assist staff in developing criteria for evaluating open space property for acquisition. And COLPAC also assisted in the development of the original Open Land and Trails Plan in 2000. This plan outlined the initial vision for the open space program at that time. Next slide, please. The role of COLPAC was clarified in 2011 with the adoption of Resolution 2011-4. This is the current guiding resolution for the committee. And we discussed this a little earlier, but the resolution outlines the purpose of the committee, the duties of the committee, and the expertise which we would like COLPAC members to have, which should be broad and diverse. So the purpose of the committee is really to advise you, the county commissioners, acting through and with the assistance of open space staff on matters related to open space trails and parks. The duties as outlined in this resolution include evaluating applications for property acquisition, advising on funding for the Open Space and Trails program, especially as it relates to property acquisitions, assisting in reviewing planning. This resolution 2011-4 calls for updating the original plan from 2000, but I'll talk a little bit about the planning activities that we've done since then that have replaced the Open Land and Trails Plan. The resolution also outlines COLPAC's responsibility to examine and make changes to the criteria for property acquisition as it's necessary. The resolution does allow for establishing subcommittees in order to address specific concerns for open space, trails, and park properties. And it also allows for the committee to work with county staff to provide public outreach. Again, the resolution outlines that our committee members should be representative of our diverse backgrounds and help us work through lots of various and broad issues. Next slide. Again, the county, the COLPAC committee has 5 members to represent each of the districts, and there are 4 at-large members. You just reappointed Sandra Madrid-Massengill from District 1. Sue Murphy is the representative from District 2. Ruben Cedeno is the chair and from District 3. Matt Piccarello, it represents District 4. Jan Cohen in District 5. And then we have a few at-large members, including Apple Snyder, Maury Hensley, Linda Siegel, and Jean Pike. And they have all been very active committee members. We're really, really lucky to have them. They have such incredible expertise and provide really meaningful input into all of the projects that we've been focused on lately. Next slide, please. So this is a timeline of the evolution of the open space program. And you probably can't read all of these details, but generally the bars are color coded. So green is property acquisition and purple is a planning project. So you can see as we move through time from 2000, which is at the left side of the timeline, to 2019 when I developed this timeline, I guess 2018, you can see that we've had a significant increase in the purple bars. And that's because as part of the clarification of the role of COLPAC in the adoption of Resolution 2011-4, we switched the focus of COLPAC from property acquisition to resource management and management of our open space properties. In the last few years, since about 2013, COLPAC has been an integral part in helping us develop management plans for specific properties, including Los Potreros open space, La Cieneguilla open space, Madrid open space, San Pedro open space, Lamy open space and park, Thornton Ranch open space, the Ortiz Mountains open space. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but we've been adopting a lot of plans, and we couldn't have done it without the input from COLPAC. They've been really, really helpful in helping us work through some of these resource management challenges that we have. And so as the program has evolved since the early days of the program, COLPAC and the participation in their guidance has been really critical to a lot of the really important projects that the open space program has been able to complete. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to shift a little bit to talk about what the open space program and COLPAC has been focused on over the last year. So I'm going to present our annual report and our 2021 work plan. Next slide, please. In 2019, with the support of COLPAC, the commissioners adopted the Santa Fe County Open Space Trails and Parks Strategic Management Plan. And this plan was intended to be a guide for staff and visitors and trail stewards and community members, but also commissioners and leadership and interested parties to understand what the open space program was about, where the program had started, what were really important guiding factors for the open space program. COLPAC was, again, really a critical piece to helping us put together a lot of the guidance in this plan for moving the open space program forward, the vision and the mission, our core principles, you know, these really important strategic pieces for this open space program. And one of the really important things about the strategic management plan is that it called for an annual update of one of the sections of the plan, in particular the work plan, which helps identify projects and priorities for the upcoming year. Next slide, please. So that's what this document is. We presented our first 2020 annual report last year in February, and our first annual report had some pretty significant and ambitious goals. 2020 kind of changed a lot, but the one thing that didn't change for us is that we have all realized how important our open spaces are and how important resource management of our open spaces is. So that's really what we are focusing on in this 2021 annual report. Next slide, please. We have a lot of projects that we've already started working on as part of our 2021 work plan. In order to be consistent with our 2019 plan, we have 4 sections of our open space program: resource management, educational programming and stewardship, project development and implementation, and planning and program development. And in each of these sections, we have a very large number of projects because we love to do these things. But we also have priorities, and you can see those are highlighted. And then in some places we have completed some projects, and in others we've already initiated projects. So that is also included. So you can see here some of our priorities for 2021 include continuing a lot of our baseline documentation. We need to collect information on our properties for the presence or absence of bats. In particular, they're important species. We also need to know about rare plants properties. So those are some of our priorities this year.